dark side of him.
Lightsaber ignited.
And Kylo like wakes up after he hears the lightsaber ignited. He's like shocked. He's like, geez, like this is my uncle, like about to kill me in my sleep. He gets his lightsaber, ignites it in self-defense, and then when this is the most powerful man in the galaxy. He knows he's probably not a match for him in a lightsaber duel, he pulls down the rocks basically, like to not kill. He wasn't going to kill Luke, but
Well, I think he might have thought he was going to.
Well,
he probably thought he was dead.
Either way, he took him out of the equation for the time being.
And then he goes recruits some boys, slaughters the rest of them, burns the temple. Leaves.
And this, because he believed Luke was going to turn on him, that's why it was kind of he embraced the hate mentality. Like, if you think this is what I'm going to become, then I'll become your worst nightmare. If this is what you believe, if this is how much he basically feels that Luke doubted his ability to resist the dark side so much that you know what, fine, I'm not gonna try to be this man that you want me to be, because if you feel that that's so wrong, and also at this point Snoke is in his head, and Snoke's telling him everything he wants to hear, and so it sounds weird, but Snoke is the closest thing to a father Kylo has in his mind.
Yep.
Because his biological father, Han Solo, abandoned him, sent him off to go train with Luke, and then Luke, his teacher, his mentor, and essentially his father figure at this point, decides, you know what, you're too powerful, and you have the potential to be corrupted by the dark side, that I'm going to kill you in your sleep. Yeah. A complete, not even kill you up front, in his sleep. Very, very dick move of Luke. And also, Luke...
That's an understatement.
Luke had this original, not a conflict between the dark and light, but we see in Return of the Jedi the whole symbolism with his face in both the light and the dark. He's had that, maybe not the inner conflict of am I going to turn, but he's had, point is, he had darkness brewing in him.
Yeah.
And so the fact that Kylo, he didn't trust Kylo whatsoever, it's, if I want something done right, I'll do it myself, and just takes matters into his own hands. And this is, and this was the peak of his I'm untouchable, and that's when everything, once you reach the peak, it all goes downhill from there. So that's where the beginning of Luke's collapse, essentially.
And this is where Rey and Kylo touch hands through the Force.
Because they're the connection is that strong at that point. Right. And that's when Luke comes in.
Luke senses it. He's like, this isn't right.
It's stormy outside. He runs in and he's
like,
no!
And he just destroys the hut. And I'm just like, oh my god, it's Skywalker.
It's at this point where this is when Rey decides to leave.
Rey jumps up and she's like, did you do it?
And Luke just turns around I'm not talking about this.
Yeah.
And she hits him with the staff.
And then she goes, she hits him over the head with the staff, and he just gets up.
And they have the fight.
And then he takes the Force and grabs the little antenna thing.
Yeah.
And that was cool when they had the fight.
Yeah.
And then she knocks him down, takes out the
lightsaber. And she has him was it the lightsaber or the staff?
She uses the lightsaber.
And she
has him in the bag over there, and she uses the Force.
She doesn't
actually end up knocking him down. They fight, and he's actually winning the fight.
But
he knocks the staff out of her hand, and she pulls the lightsaber out. And when she holds the lightsaber in front of him, that's when he falls out.
He falls down, but you notice how he fell down? He used the Force to keep him down.
Yeah.
But she pulls the lightsaber, he's like, oh shit, she's business.
She has him dead to rights.
This is basically how a lightsaber once or twice in their life. There's not going to be Luke Skywalker, who's been dormant in the Force for 15 years.
But the point is, she has him dead to rights, and she's like, did you do it? And he tells his side of the story.
Yeah. He's like, this is...
It's not his... It's the real...
It's his side of the story. Kylo is right.
Story earlier. Now this is the canon.
And then, so essentially, what happens is that Luke goes in. He goes into Kylo's mind, and he reads him, and he sees all the darkness and the Snoke and the thoughts and the. Yeah. And he's afraid, and he's like, I'm not gonna let this happen. And he says it came by in a fleeting moment.
Just in a moment of anger.
He uses some really good metaphor. It came and went like a whisper, whatever. He takes out.
Was it like a river? Like a winding river or something? Because I feel like whatever.
I can't remember. I remember when
it was just a fleeting moment. He ignited the lightsaber.
And then he's looking down. He's like, wait a second.
And he just felt shame.
And he felt shame. He's like, why would I ever do this? But then Ben wakes up, sees the lightsaber, and immediately uses the Force, gets his lightsaber, and Luke just goes, Ben, no. And then Ben's like, I'm gonna, and then he's like, whoa, and then Ben does the rocks and everything.
Ben misinterprets the situation, rightfully so.
Absolutely. He's absolutely justified to think that Luke Skywalker is about to kill him.
Yeah.
I mean, you see your uncle standing over you, 2 a.m, with the most dangerous weapon, most dangerous handheld weapon in the galaxy, and what else are you gonna think?
Yeah.
You know, so Kylo, obviously we already got into that through his perspective of the story, and so that's when he turns, and then Rey leaves to go confront Kylo because she believes she can turn him because she's seen the inner conflict, and they almost have that personal connection now because they were connected through the Force. They know they're linked by purpose, whatever that purpose may be, and so she goes to confront him on the supremacy.
Yeah.
Well, but Luke also has that line that this is not going to go the way you think.
Right.
Yeah.
And so...
And she says, she offers him the
That's
lightsaber.
the next morning.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure.
It's right then. She offers him the lightsaber.
Moment, I always thought it was...
Yeah, it's like during the storm, and she's like, I'm leaving.
Right.
And yeah.
And she's like, I'm going to like turn him or whatever. And
Yeah.
Luke's like, no. And similar to how like in episode 5, when Luke's like, I'm gonna go save my friends, and Yoda's like,
Yeah, you should.
Buddy.
Like, we gotta finish.
And she leaves right then, and as he does that, that's when he goes to the tree, and you see, your boy.
Oh my god, great scene. So Luke goes to the tree. He's kind of looking at it all like in anger, and the camera pans around, and we just see some green ears. And at
that moment, everybody
I perked up. We get Force Ghost Yoda, and Luke. It wasn't joyous Luke, but it was Master Yoda.
It was kind of like oh my god.
Like what?
What?
He's like, yo, what are you doing here, my dude? And he's just like,
Young Skywalker.
And
I love
then-
how we still call him Young Skywalker.
it's so great because also the whole like idea of the scene is that despite Luke being in this master role, even though he's not really in it anymore, well, he is to Rey.
Yeah.
Point is, he still needs somewhat guidance to this master role, despite the fact that he shouldn't have to. But
he's still got a lot to learn.
Point is, Luke's always learning, and that's what I really like about the scene. There's not much,
like in life, you're always learning.
Yeah.
That's the point I think they're trying to make with this.
yeah. And so there's not
Never truly.
a crazy ton to unpack with the scene besides the nostalgia of Yoda and the idea.
Yoda burns down the tree.
Yes,
That was cool.
and
Luke's like, I'm gonna end it, and then he
doesn't have the
and
strength to.
And Yoda sees him struggling, so Yoda's like, and
Right.
he manipulates the Force still, and causes lightning to strike and burn down the tree. And then Luke's like,
Those are the
and
sacred
then
Jedi tags!
you can tell that Luke, deep down, you can see that Luke still
Yeah,
is like,
he was never gonna burn down that tree.
yeah,
actually.
he was just like a moment of rage, like I'm gonna do it, and then he was like,
deep down, but deep down, he still is like a Jedi.
And Yoda's
Right.
like, page turners, they were not.
yeah. And so back to we go to the supremacy where Rey has snuck on essentially.
Now everything's meeting back up. You have Rey, Finn, Rose, all that.
And as
All done.
immediately when she gets out of her capsule thing, Kylo's there,
Yeah.
and he takes her to Snoke's room,
And
which
they
is
have a really cool interaction in the
Yeah.
elevator.
yeah, and Snoke's throne room. We get the best scene in this movie.
But did you notice the lighting? I saw this on Twitter. Then the lighting as the elevator's going up is kind of like a flipping light and dark over Kylo's face.
No, really, didn't notice.
That's really cool. I love that. The Snoke throne room scene, part 2. This time with Rey, and so he doesn't know much about this girl. He refers to her as young Rey,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Or whatever. And he's basically trying to turn her.
He's not trying to turn her. He's trying to get her to go with Luke Skywalker.
He says that.
Oh, you're
He
right.
has
You're
no
right. You're right.
intention of
You're right.
turning her.
Yeah,
He's
he doesn't
gonna
care
read
for
her
her.
mind and then kill her. He says it right to her.
Yeah. Point is, I want to get to the climax of the scene. So
Well, no, but you can't just go straight to the comics because
The-
Rey's fight is a huge thing. Her just she's like, I'm gonna kill you. Snoke.
Oh yeah,
Just
and
to-
he force lightnings her.
Yeah, and then she gets Kylo's lightsaber and she runs at him.
Right.
And he's just like,
Yeah,
That's
but
when he
the
throws her in the air, and it's that scene
The
in the trailer
enti-
when she's
Right.
back over screaming.
but the entire thing is kind of repetitive of just she's
she
trying
keeps
to attack
kill
her.
him,
Yeah.
and she fails. And then he puts her on her knees in front of Kylo.
He reads her
And
mind
he
and
bas-
finds out where Luke is. And
He's
like,
basically like, all right, Kylo, I don't want to do it. You do it. Prove your allegiance to me. Kylo is standing over Rey. You kind of know what's coming because he's stalling a bit. And he uses the line that he said to Han, I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do
Well,
it.
He didn't say that.
Wait.
He says, I know what I have to do.
I know what I have to do, sorry. And then he kind of gives Rey a look, and she knows it's not going to go the same way.
It's not going to go the way that she thinks.
And then
And
you
then
see...
Snoke has this whole thing. He's like, yes, and now he turns his lightsaber.
And
He
at
hears
this
Kylo's mind.
at this point, so there's two things going on. Snoke is with Snoke and his Force. Snoke is reading Kylo's mind, as well as holding Rey down.
Yeah.
We forgot to mention Rey's lightsaber is now on
the Anakin Skywalker.
yeah,
lightsaber.
Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber is on like the armrest of Snoke's chair,
Yeah.
and Kylo's slowly moving it.
And you know what's about to happen.
Very, very slyly, because Snoke's also reading his mind, so he has to barely be thinking about this at all. The amount of Force concentration that Kylo requires.
He reads that Kylo is turning his lightsaber on his true enemy, but that's all he can get. He cannot gauge into
Right.
this.
Kylo's thinking, I'm turning lightsaber towards my true enemy, and Snoke
Right.
thinks he's turning his lightsaber towards Rey.
Right, and so that's just how much concentration like Kylo has to be able to avoid even thinking that.
Yeah, you can't think
It's
the name
crazy.
Snoke or anything.
And so he turns it, he ignites it, and
it's
cuts
so cool.
Snoke in 3 pieces.
The
which
music in that is so cool.
That's-
yeah,
Oh.
when the scene picks up, and then so Snoke's cut into 3 pieces, and we get
And then he uses the Force to bring it out,
And
Rey
catches
Rey
it.
reaches up and grabs it, and there's a moment when Kylo's looking at her, and Rey looks at him, and then it pans back to Kyle, and then you see Kylo just take out his light, and you see it ignite, and the lights on his face,
Yeah.
right,
and then it's just so cool.
and they
the
attack.
Praetorian guards
And then
attack
the
them.
guards all like storm them, it goes into slow mo,
And
they
this-
do a thing, they just kind of like slice the ground a bit or whatever.
And
This-
back to back.
This has to be one of the best fights in Star Wars history.
If not the best.
Like the fight itself of just like different like innovative ways of how they like kill off these guards, it's insane. And so we finally get this like the first real like light and dark side team up,
Yeah.
right? Because the
The
only
only one, right?
the only one I can think of is there's a deleted scene of Revenge of the Sith of like
It's
Obi-Wan.
not even a deleted scene, it was concept.
It was a concept, so
Yeah.
they didn't even record it.
Correct.
Oh, okay. So this
And
is the
in the Clone Wars TV show, they have some of that.
right, but like on
Ventress fights with them.
right.
Yeah.
On screen for movie wise, this is like the first time we get
And
to see.
it's so cool.
It's so satisfying.
Coolest.
And so they're just going through and they're slicing and dicing, and yeah,
Not
this seems
without
amazing.
struggle though, because these
Yeah,
guards.
yeah.
these
These
guards
oh
know
these
how
guys
to
are
fight.
these guys are holding their own, because these are
They're
like they're
supposedly former Jedi, some of them, or something.
yeah. But the point is like these are not stormtroopers. These guys are giving them like a struggle big time.
These are the boys.
This
Yeah.
is where Rey gets that cut on her arm that we all see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
And one of them slices her about. She's like, ah!
anyways, point is they kill all the guards, and this is when Kylo. What?
I don't know, just because there's like you talk about it so much, just like the different points, and like when Kyle like loses the lightsaber, and like Rey's off with one guy, and they'll both get tangled up a bit.
Right.
And then Rey does the thing where she drops the lightsaber and
Yeah.
slices the guy up the middle,
And then
then
Kylo-
throws
yeah.
it at Kylo, and Kylo
He
catches
ignites
it,
it,
and that's the last kill.
The last kill is the coolest with the catching and the igniting immediately.
And now it's just the two of them face to face.
And this is when like Rey's like she takes this, says, "All right, like let's go, like you're with me now, right?" And Kylo gives his whole speech,
He's
and
like, you're nothing. You're absolutely nothing.
he
Say it.
he builds up to it.
You know the truth.
Point is
Say it. He says that a lot.
yeah
He's just like he's kind of like a little bit of a dick. He's just like, come on, say it. You're worthless.
It's
He
a-
really emphasizes it. He's like, you're nothing.
it's he's trying to show maturity in Rey.
I know.
He's trying to like take because he doesn't when you're teaching a child how to like I don't know write a word, you're not gonna write it for them. You're gonna tell them how to do it, and then they're gonna do it. And so like he tells her like, "Tell me who your parents are. You've always known deep down." And she basically says, "They were nobody." And he's like, "Yes, you're right. They were junk traders who sold you off for some food or like a cheap plane ticket or whatever."
And they're dead now.
Right. And so this is basically his appeal to like, you're nothing to the outside world, but you're something to me, and like join me by my side. Like would she essentially would be his apprentice.
Yeah, she says they can rule together.
Right.
He's like, forget the Jedi, forget the Resistance, forget the Sith.
Like
Join me.
Just the two of them now.
yeah.
And together we can rule the galaxy.
I don't know what kind of relationship they would have.
With
Some,
a new order.
It would some people interpret this as romantic. I don't think it's romantic
That's not
whatsoever.
romantic at
No,
all.
no, no.
It's a very
I don't know if it's a master apprentice or if it's like co-rule. That's what
Right.
I think it is.
I feel like the more I think about it, I feel it would have been more co-rule
Yeah.
because
Because Kylo recognizes her power.
They
Right.
really emphasize the fact that like light rises to meet the darkness.
right. And so this is when he like extends his hand, and she's just like don't do this, Kylo. Like don't do this. Like,
But